Senator, great to have you, my friend. Everyone said before the show that if you were in their state, they'd all vote for you, right? So you got a lot of fans.
Wow. Well, God bless the great Americans in your audience. They're fighting to save America.
Listen, they're almost like Texans. They're the only normal people in New York. So,
well, come down, buy a ranch, get a horse, live life in freedom.
And a new pair of cowboy boots and a hat, and I'm ready to go. Great to have you.
Amen.
Let's get your thoughts overall on what we see unfolding here and what needs to be done and what role the U.S. should play here.
Well, what is unfolding in Israel is utterly horrific. This is the most serious attack facing the state of Israel in 50 years. This is Saturday, October 7th, was the single biggest mass murder in a day of Jews since the Holocaust. We have seen Palestinian terrorists committing horrific acts of murder, going from home to home, targeting civilians, murdering the elderly, murdering women, murdering children, deliberately executing every member of a family, raping women, raping little girls, burning and beheading infants. It is evil. There is no moral equivalence. Everyone in the media, every Democrat who is saying Hamas and Israel are the same, they're not remotely the same. And it is critical right now that we stand together, that every American says, America stands with Israel 100%, period, full stop, for as long as it takes to utterly and completely defeat Hamas.
That's what it's going to take. I know you've been to Israel many times. I've been there. Yeah. I was there during a flare-up, and I've been to border towns with Gaza, and I've seen the carnage. Kids in a Sarot is what they call a little small town. 10,000 rockets were fired into that one little city in 10 years. Little children, because it only takes 13 seconds for a rocket fired in Gaza to hit this watering town. And so the kids have to play in underground playgrounds that are bunkers. They can't play outside. They don't get vitamin D. Very neat, necessary for good health, right? I don't think people realize that any outcome, doesn't it have to end any possible opportunity for the terrorists in Gaza to be firing there, having a launching pad from there?
Look, absolutely yes. You and I both know Prime Minister Netanyahu very well. He has pledged to eradicate Hamas. That is the right thing. And there are three things that are critical for us to do. Number one, we need to cut off the money to Iran. The Biden administration has flowed nearly $100 billion to Iran. Joe Biden and his administration is, in a very real sense, funding this attack. We need to cut it all off. We need to cut the $6 billion off. That was a ransom for American hostages that basically set a bounty for Iran to go take more American hostages.
They said they had a secret deal. How do you have a secret deal that you trust if it's not ratified by the Senate?
Well, look, they've been engaged in secret deals from the beginning. Biden's number one foreign policy priority was to enter into another Iran nuclear deal. But their answer is funnel billions of dollars into Iran. The ayatollah is a theocratic, homicidal, genocidal maniac who leads mobs in chanting death to America and death to Israel. And if you look at the four pots of money that have gone to Hamas, you've got the $6 billion to Iran. You've got 3 weeks before that, $10 billion to Iran, again from the Biden administration. The biggest pot is $80 billion because Biden will not enforce the oil sanctions. So Joe Biden and the Democrats are allowing Iran today to sell 2 million barrels of oil a day, primarily to communist China. That is funding these Hamas terrorists. And then the fourth pot of money is the Biden administration sent hundreds of millions of dollars into Gaza. After the Biden administration had concluded there was a high likelihood that money would go to Hamas to fund terrorism against Israel. We need to cut off all that money. No money for Gaza, no money for Iran. Shut off their oil sales, starve them of cash. That's step number one. Step number two, we need to fund Israel's defensive weaponry, the Iron Dome missile defense, give them the weapons they need. And then step number three, Israel is going to be demonized by Democrats and the corrupt corporate media. We need to make clear that Hamas is using human shields and Israel has a right to defend itself. We need to stand up and speak the truth. I'm doing that every week on my podcast, Verdict with Ted Cruz. You're doing that. Thank you, Sean, for speaking the truth.
Thank you, Senator Ted Cruz, for what you're doing and having more clarity.